Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and you're looking at a tweet I did on May 14th, 2024. You're about to have a front row seat to the biggest political blunder in the history of politics, and Senator Warren owns it. Think New Coke, think Bud Light transgender. This is when she was building her anti-crypto army. Now, listen to Reid Hoffman, he's a major Democrat supporter or liberal supporter, whatever you want to call it. Listen to what he says.
When we look at freedom of money, that should be a very comfortable bipartisan issue. Why do you think there is so much politicization in the tech and crypto industry these days?
I think the kickoff was completely the Democrats' fault, probably heavily originated by Senator Warren and other folks. And I think it was a mistake for the country. I think it was a mistake for the world. I think it was also obviously a mistake for the Democratic Party.
Yep, we tried to tell you. That's what happens when you ignore the people that got you elected. Many of the people that got elected are pro-crypto people, and they ignored it. But here's where we are today. Here's Perianne Boring, who just had a baby.
Gone really past just speculating, is this going to be a thing in the future, to this absolutely is critical infrastructure, and we need to lead, and we need to get the rules right to foster that environment.
Right, and how to integrate it into existing systems and existing infrastructure. And of course, it touches so many different industries. Once upon a time, crypto was kind of the domain of the Senate Banking Committee or the House Financial Services Committee. It's gone beyond that, hasn't it?
Absolutely. What we are seeing is the tokenization of all things. I believe anything that can be moved on chain will be, or to a large extent. So that will be everything from financial services related to transactions to the title of your house or your car could be issued on a blockchain and settled using blockchain infrastructure. We already have a number of projects that are being used in the defense industry to secure communications across defense-related systems. So many different industries will use and leverage blockchain rails in the future. And again, this is why it's so critical that we get the rules right, so we attract these types of businesses, this types of innovation, so we continue to lead in this advanced technology sector.
All righty then. Look at this. White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett says there should be a big rebound after the federal government reopens or opens. That they're working on doing that today and tomorrow, is my understanding, even if they have to stay the weekend. Imagine all these poor congressmen actually having to work on a weekend. I think I've worked on weekends my entire life. These people. President Trump says more executive orders are coming to protect Bitcoin and crypto innovation. That's a good thing. And this is an interesting listen right here.
But for me, the reason I love it and it's so fascinating is that crypto brings you into Wall Street, geopolitics, the money, history, technology. It's fascinating if you let it be. But the bigger thing that I find so exciting is this clash of cultures and clash of worlds. This is the first asset, really, that has come from the underground grassroots and then was adopted by the institutional world. Normally, the big fish are using something and then someone democratizes it and lets the little people get access, like bonds and stocks, right? This is really interesting that this bubbled up from the people, and now the Wall Street world is trying to give the bigger fish access. And that means that you've got this collision of TradFi and DeFi. It's definitely a culture collision, and it's a generational collision. And I know this because now, for the first time, if I go to a crypto, then I feel old. Or when I communicate with some people on Twitter, I'm like, man, I kind of feel like the old guy now. And that is interesting to me. And the culture is also inviting. These are people who are excitable, but at the same time self-deprecating. Sometimes TradFi is a little too high priestish for me in many cases, throwing around the Greek symbols and, oh, you'll be sorry. It's almost like they're a little too know-it-all. And I think the crypto has this inmates taking over the asylum feel. And I've always loved that, whether it's in music or comedy or anything. I really enjoy that sort of somewhat chaotic feeling of like the people who shouldn't win are kind of like winning. And so there's just multiple attractions for me that might not be attractive to somebody else. And if you look at the numbers, every time there's a launch, it's like the top of the year, if not top 3. And then going down the line, you look at the flows, it's just breaking all kinds of records. Bitcoin in particular was the greatest launch in the fund industry, which is 100 years old.
Where do they get a load of XRP? JP Morgan discloses 343 million Bitcoin ETF holdings. And I said, now do XRP, JP Morgan. This is Paul Tudor Jones talking about the crypto markets. This is kind of interesting.
What would I want to have? I'd want to have a combination.
When he says Bitcoin, just think XRP.
Of gold, crypto. And my guess is that I think all the ingredients are in place for some kind of a blow-off. Will it happen? Again, history rhymes a lot, so I would think some version of it is going to happen again.
Right.
If anything now is so much more potentially explosive than 1999. 1999, we were looking at a rate hike in November. Now we're looking at a rate cut. We were looking at 4 more rate hikes before we actually topped in 2000. Now we're looking at 3 or 4 rate cuts, probably at least. So you have monetary policy that's going to take us to real rates of 0 or less, probably, depending upon the next Fed chair. And then the big difference is, obviously, fiscal policy. We had a budget surplus in 99, 2000. Now we've got a 6% budget deficit. So that combination, that fiscal monetary combination, is a brew that we haven't seen since, I guess, the post-war period, early 50s, something like that. And that was crazy times, right, coming out of the war.
But you think that most people who are watching us now, you need to be in this market now. But then the question, as I said, is you have to jump off the train before the train crashes. If you're suggesting the train is going to crash.
I'm not suggesting the train's going to crash. I'm suggesting that we're in a period that's conducive for massive price appreciation in a variety of assets. Will it happen or not? I don't know. There's, if you kind of just look, if you just think about the leverage that we had in 1999, you look at margin debt, and then you look at today margin debt, but you have to throw in leverage ETFs because people don't use margin like they did back then. We're probably a little more elevated than we were in October of 99. It will take a speculative frenzy for us to elevate those prices, right? It will take more retail buying. It'll take more recruitment from a variety of from long-short hedge funds, from real money, et cetera. It'll take a combination of those things. It's not going to go up without flows and without a story. The story's there. It's the combination of the most unique and aggressive fiscal and monetary conditions that we've ever seen.
Okay, if you're right, who are the winners then in that?
Okay, so I want you to see this. I'm going to give you some context. First of all these characters that are in this space is talking. This started from when Ripple announced they got another round of funding, and she was trying to stir up trouble. And so you got to remember, Laura Shin and a lot of these people, they've all for the last decade, they've all been a part of this Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana machine. None of them ever questioned the secrets, whether it's Satoshi, the hidden whales from the Ethereum ICO. None of them ever talk about that because they're a part of that cabal, just about all of them. And so it's not in their interest. And so what they've done instead for the last decade, I've been here watching it, they've been pointing at Ripple and saying, look at you, Ripple, who's been being completely transparent about their holdings and what they have and all that. And look at you, you own a bunch of it. Meanwhile, people like Joseph Lubin have been hiding what they own. Vitalik Buterin, the Ethereum Foundation, they've been practicing what Lubin called internal transparency. In other words, it's transparent to us on the inside, but we're not going to show any of you outside or who those disguised whales are. Laura Shin and all her friends have never put a magnifying glass over that. She even wrote a book on Ethereum and didn't even address it. Even though I was asking her to address it in the book, she ignored it. And so that's what you're dealing with here. So what's happening right now is these people are now seeing that Ripple's gotten past this lawsuit. Remember, all these people thought that the lawsuit, the SEC lawsuit, would destroy Ripple. That was the whole plan. And now they're realizing, wait a minute, Ripple got through the lawsuit, they won, and now they're about to we're getting pro-crypto everything. All of our running our mouths for the last decade doesn't matter anymore. These guys are starting to show how they're winning. And that's what you're about to listen to.
What I will say,
this is the beginning of grown men weeping,
is this. I don't like
half what they're saying in here. I don't even believe it's true.
Investment where you don't know what you own. And when you own XRP, there is no clear, to me, it is not clear what value the token holders will get out of this ecosystem. If you own Ripple.
Well, I can tell you some value. I know for a fact that first, there already is XRP yield. So you can get yield on your XRP right now. I personally am waiting on yield from some of the major platforms. But you can get yield right now. So there's one thing you're getting out of it. This is all their worst nightmares come true, folks.
Company, it is exceedingly clear.
How do you own the Ripple company?
You can't.
What do you mean, how do you own the Ripple company? You buy
shares? Well, no, they trade on Carta, and they were trading at a $40 billion valuation before this privately on Carta, and there's plenty of people, it's pre-IPO.
You can do it if you're as rich as you are, Gary. But look, the reality is that if you ask me the point of, it's about a valuation point. It's for
well, I think what I'm learning here, though, Dave, like what I'm learning here, what you just said, the audience should really
I don't trust this guy as far as I can throw him.
Pay attention to. You're saying a guy like me, and maybe I need to start making more trips and being nice to people when they have failed business models. That's not really like me. This business model is really problematic for me. Don't know why they didn't raise $5 billion if it's such a great deal.
I'll tell you why. They don't want to be diluted.
Well, yeah, but the audience needs to understand that for XRP, there are large players buying XRP today for about $1 or $1.20.
Oh, really? Well, get specific. Don't just throw something like that out there.
In a 232 market, and they have a severe. And by the way, if I had that advantage, I would.
By the way, if there are, then there are also big players buying Bitcoin at 70,000, or big players buying Ethereum at 30% down, below what it's on in the retail markets. This is all misdirection.
Certainly take it. If they want to sell me that, I will buy 25. I'll sell everything.
Well, then go do it. Why are you talking about it?
I got it right now. Just buy.
You think if he could get XRP for $1.20 and then go out on the retail market, he wouldn't be doing it? You better believe he wouldn't be doing it. You better believe he would be doing it.
XRP and then dump it. I don't know what the constraints on it is.
Let me guess, your ethics are too high.
But dude, I just.
But those investors aren't getting liquid XRP.
No, they're not.
Presumably. So you're saying they should do that?
You could hedge it, I suppose. But
you can most certainly hedge this, dude. Like, this would be so easy.
Well, then go do it if you can.
Lock in 100% overnight. Anyway, it's just the audience needs to understand there's multiple markets here. It's not, buying big volumes. I've seen discounts. I've not seen a discount like this, and then a bullish story.
Well, the bullish story is important, so I'll tell another.
Okay, wanted to show you that. I'm going to show you just how wrong those guys are in the group. But first, I wanted to show you this history from Paul Barron. This is how the .com era created the winners versus early stage small VCs, retail crypto that could not hold on and became the losers. Winners of that era: Amazon, Google, eBay, institutions versus Pets.com, Webvan, eToys, crypto retail. The winners went from 8.8 billion market cap in 2000 to 2.6 trillion in 2020, with eBay dying over those 20 years, a growth of 29,783%. This will be bigger. He's 1,000% right. We're going to show you just how big Ripple's going to be and how wrong those guys are in the group. I'm the digital. You go to DAIXRP.com for the Patreon. Click join below any of the YouTube videos to join through YouTube, or you can click subscribe through X. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Here we go.